Modern proportional representation voting systems run on outdated logic. Like legacy software, the framework is full of vulnerabilities that have gone untouched for decades. When you cast a ballot, you assume your input compiles directly into the execution of state power. But between the physical ballot and the formation of a government lies a dark space, a gap in the chain of custody where structural exploits can intercept and redirect voter intent. To secure this system, we have to look past political ideology and party platforms. We are focusing entirely on mechanical engineering. The democratic chain of custody can be reinforced by applying 3 specific structural patches to the electoral framework. These changes don't require a total constitutional rewrite. They simply secure the existing code. A system assuming politicians act in bad faith creates a far more resilient democracy than one built on the hope of their good intentions. The first systemic vulnerability is the blank check exploit. In many systems, parties hide behind a single, charismatic list bearer. You vote for the face, but that person may never actually sit in parliament or serve in the executive branch. Once the election is over, the actual levers of state power, the ministries, are traded in opaque backroom coalition deals. While these puzzle pieces are shuffled, the voter is locked out. The person you voted for is decoupled from the actual hiring of the executive branch. The first mechanical patch is the pre-declared cabinet. To legally form a government, a political list must publicly lock in their candidate for prime minister before election day. This includes the heads of defense, interior, and foreign affairs, health, and environment. These 5 ministries are targeted because they hold emergency command powers. During a war or a pandemic, these specific offices can legally suspend civil liberties. This patch prevents a party from trading away a vital role, like the Ministry of Interior, just to secure fringe coalition votes. The hierarchy is fixed before the first vote is even cast. By mathematically binding the pre-election intent of the voter directly to the post-election execution, the system completely removes the opportunity for a post-vote bait-and-switch. The second systemic vulnerability is the defector exploit, commonly known as mandate trading. This occurs when a politician is elected on an opposition platform, but mid-term switches their allegiance to the ruling party. A mandate is the legal authority granted to a representative by their voters to act in parliament. Absorbing defectors pads the ruling party's majority and signals that the opposition is effectively being dismantled from within. The transaction is simple. The ruling party trades state resources or influence in exchange for that single critical vote. The second mechanical patch is mandate freezing. A democratic system cannot legally expel a representative for changing their mind. That would infringe on their personal independence. Instead, the system redefines the mathematical utility of that representative to the ruling party. If a representative abandons the specific electoral list that put them in power, their mandate enters a frozen state. The frozen representative keeps their physical seat, their salary, and their right to speak and debate on the floor. However, they lose the legal right to cast a vote on any legislation. Severing the voting right from the speaking right destroys the incentive for mandate trading. A ruling party has no reason to bribe a politician who cannot help them pass laws. The third systemic vulnerability is the black box exploit of physical ballot counting. Paper trails and centralized counting authorities are only effective if the state managing them is trustworthy. If the state itself is compromised, centralized security becomes a point of failure. The third mechanical patch moves election security away from the state and into the hands of the public. This involves installing independent wireless cameras at every polling station. 4G allows these cameras to transmit high-speed data wirelessly, entirely bypassing local landline vulnerabilities. The cameras are angled to never look behind the voting screen, ensuring that ballot secrecy remains absolute. The camera's true target is a continuous visual record of the physical ballot box. These feeds stream live to open-source platforms to form a public mosaic, bypassing state servers entirely. This allows citizens to independently verify voter turnout by counting the physical bodies entering the room and comparing them to the official tally. While no physical system is immune to interference, this creates a decentralized audit trail. Falsifying a count requires the state to bypass millions of recorders, making any discrepancy immediately visible to the public. By crowdsourcing election security, the state loses its monopoly on the counting process, neutralizing its ability to manipulate the physical tally in secret. pre-declared cabinets, frozen mandates, and live-streamed ballots. When these three distinct mechanical patches merge, they form a cohesive architecture of constraints. Implementing these mechanics shift the burden of security away from trust. The voter no longer has to rely on the promises or morality of a candidate. True democratic security is not a matter of electing better people. It is a matter of building structural constraints that limit power. These patches align the mathematical incentives of the politicians directly with the intended will of the electorate. This is rigorous structural engineering. It secures the chain of custody and ensures that the system serves the voter, rather than the bad actors trying to exploit the code.